250 years marks one nation's count, and through it, a question every people on earth holds. What do we carry forward and what do we leave behind? 250 years is not a monument. It's a mosaic. Ordinary lives stitched together by persistence, by loss, by the quiet decision to keep going anyway. Every generation inherits both the ache and the aspiration of those who came before. We're not the first to wonder what lasts, and we will not be the last to discover that endurance is rarely loud. When we speak of history, we often imagine marble and speeches, grand gestures, decisive moments. But the real architecture of legacy rises somewhere quieter, in kitchens and classrooms, and small and ordinary acts of repair. This is where the measure of time actually lives. Not in the monuments we build, but in the continuity of care we pass forward. The courage of a people lives in those who rebuild after loss, who teach, who listen, who forgive. They're the quiet characters of continuity, the ones who hold the thread when the fabric frays. In every era and every corner of this world, people have chosen steadiness over spectacle. And in this country, some of those carriers bore something heavier still. They carried the full weight of a nation's contradictions on their backs, building, sustaining, and surviving a history that promised freedom while practicing its opposite. Their endurance did not just shape a nation, it revealed the true measure of its soul. And what they show us, what their persistence makes undeniable, is that endurance grows from the decision to keep showing up. Day after day, season after season, in the rhythm of ordinary life, the quiet carriers become the unseen architects of belonging. Their work rarely reaches textbooks, and yet it shapes the emotional geography of communities across generations. We're both the architects and the inheritors of our collective story. Each generation looks into the mirror of the past and sees both resemblance and revision. The reflection carries honesty, even when it carries difficulty. We mark what was born as much as what was built. The monuments remind us of achievement. The memories remind us of endurance. And endurance at its heart is emotional, a continuity of meaning that outlives the moment, that outlives the person who first carried it. Now, every place holds a memory. For some, that memory lives in the light falling on a familiar street, the sound of a market bell, the scent of summer air through an open window. For others, it lives in the worn path through tall grass, the red dust of a road walked 1,000 times, the trail that leads home through forest or open plain, may be marked by nothing more than the memory of feet that passed before. These are coordinates of belonging. Every culture holds them. Every landscape carries them, and every people knows them, even when they cannot name them. Now, I call this emotional geography, the landscape of endurance, where place, memory, and meaning intertwine. Whether that place carries a name on a map or only lives in the hearts of those who knew it. In this geography, the past does not sit behind us. It sits beneath us, the ground we walk, the path we follow, the terrain we cross every day. To understand legacy, we must learn to read the landscape of feeling as carefully as we read the landscape of fact. So as we mark 250 years, let us not ask only what we remember, but how we remember. Do we carry our history as a burden or as a compass? Do we honor the voices that built the foundation, or do we rush past them in pursuit of novelty? These are not rhetorical questions. They're the questions that determine what the next 250 years will be made of. The measure of memory lives in how deeply we understand across borders, across languages, across every kind of ground human beings call home. The legacy is a posture, a way of standing in time with gratitude and awareness. And the truest marker of this moment is not the number we're celebrating, it's the quiet recognition that we are still here, still learning, still becoming. The measure of memory is not in the years we count, it's in the meaning we carry forward. So take care, stay connected.